protecting communities is at the core of policing. That's why, as police chiefs, we've been meeting regularly over the last few days, and we've decided to marshal thousands of police officers across the country. We've changed our tactics in the last couple of days. So besides marshalling more officers, we're brigading some of them at key strategic locations across the country to give us more agility to respond to wherever the protests are most intense, so that we can respond with agility and show overwhelming force, so that the criminals and thugs on the streets don't succeed.
We're hearing about specifically immigration centres or immigration lawyers being targeted. How concerned are you for people in that space tonight?
So we've seen that list circulated. Obviously, that's at the centre of our planning for tonight. Also keeping an open mind on other possibilities and other intelligence that's coming into our system. That's why we have thousands of officers on tonight. We will protect those people. It is completely unacceptable, regardless of your political views, to intimidate any sector of lawful activity, and we will not let the immigration asylum system be intimidated. They're operating lawfully. The thugs and criminals who are targeting them are not, and we'll stop that.
Do you believe, as some commentators, former police officers have suggested so far, that what we've seen across the country could be slipping into terrorism? Is that how seriously you think we should be treating this?
So we'll throw the full force of the law at offenders, whether that's charging people with assaults, violent disorder, riot, and if terrorism offences are appropriate, I know that Director of Public Prosecutions has said he's prepared to consider that. We will throw the full force of the law at people. And whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you.
Talk to me about that, because we have seen some high-profile figures whipping up the hatred. You talked about it in there with the officers, in fact, about this being added to by online commentary. I mean, I'm even thinking of the likes of Elon Musk getting involved. What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred. There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the sort of publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are provoking hatred and violence on the streets, and we'll come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the obs who are causing the problems for communities.
And on that note, a lot of this commentary discusses two-tier policing. Where do you stand on that, and what would you like to say to the people who say that you are treating different groups differently when it comes to your policing response?
It's complete nonsense. We have commentators from either end of the political spectrum who like to throw accusations of bias at the police, because we stand in the middle. We operate independently under the law without fear or favour. And if you've got crazy views over there, you don't like it. And if you've got crazy views from over there, you don't like it. We will continue to do that. The serious voices who echo those are of more concern to me, because the risk is they legitimise it, and they legitimise the violence that the officers I'm sending on mutual aid today will face on the streets. They are putting them at risk by suggesting that any of those officers are going out with any intent other than to operate without fear or favour in protecting communities.
Are there individuals particularly that you want to name in that? I mean, again,
I don't want to give individuals credit by naming them individually. But if you're a keyboard warrior, you're not safe from the law if you incite violence.
Could even somebody like Elon Musk be considered for something
I'm not
like
going to
that?
get into naming individuals.
And then talk to me about, I know there were frustrations that you were feeling certainly on Monday in regards to an incident with a Sky journalist. I just wondered generally how you found the past week in terms of the stress and the strain that you are under. Where does this come in terms of your career? How much pressure the Met generally policing in this country is?
The incident with Sky journalist was trivial. It was a trivial sort of sideline. We've had some very constructive meetings at Cobra. It's really helpful that government's looking to bring all the arms of government behind supporting us, and that's very welcome to chiefs. Meanwhile, we're facing a very big challenge. There's no shirking from that. But as you heard in there, I'm very proud of the men and women of the Metropolitan Police, and I know my colleagues across the country as chiefs are equally proud of their men and women. These are men and women who are prepared to stand in the middle of violence and confront it in a situation that 99% of the population would run a million miles from. They're prepared to do that to protect the peace and keep people safe, and that deserves our admiration.